Okay, welcome everyone. We've started the recording. We're here at S.A.S.S, our Spirituality and Support Symposium. Think morning witchy chats around a campfire. By participating in S.A.S, you agree to read and accept the terms of engagement, which I'm going to post right now in the chat. We ask that you stay muted during the recording for clarity during the meeting and the afterplay. We'll get started with a few announcements. And so we have 4 members started a Facebook page. So if you have not joined the Facebook group, you can. You can email us if you have any questions about that. We are going to be moving away from our other platform due to just some technical stuff, and to make it easier and straightforward, and to make sure everyone can access everything that they need. We'll be relying on our members area a lot more to post our workbooks, our videos, and the Zoom links. And if you need any help getting into the members area on the website under foundations, just again, you can email us. Also, our website has a chat function, and you can also use the chat to get in touch with us. So that, and if you don't, some people reached out that they don't have a Facebook, and that is okay. The Facebook is really just to kind of stay connected, but I will post all the meeting reminders on there. But we have our calendar that's up to date on the website. So if you just prefer to stay off Facebook, that's totally cool. Everything you need is on the calendar and also in the members area. And for those of you that have signed up for our mailing list, which will be the newsletter, I'll also, through that grouping, I can email members important announcements and things like that. So we can stay connected that way. We have 2 workshops coming up in February, and we have our retreat, our staycation retreat, also in February. And so on our website, we've updated the workshops, and now we have a new tab from the drop down that says retreat. So we're going to do Boss Witch Alchemy, and we're also going to do some tech magic with Acacia. So those are 2 exciting workshops coming up. And yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Jemery or Wit if they want to talk about or Kim as well. Those are the 3 witches doing the retreat. But Wit is our event witch who helps coordinate all of our events here at Bright and Dark. So if Wit, you want to jump in and tell the people about the thing.
Sure. Not prepared at all, but that's how we flow here. So yeah, our retreat is coming up on February 16th through the 18th, I believe it is that Friday. And it is going to be something new and completely awesome that we're going to be having set up of, where we're going to be eating meals together and just learning how to really kind of incorporate magic into your everyday life and how to roll with it in a natural setting of your own home. It's fun and cool to learn about how to do it. And, in our in-person retreats, our convergences of, spending that time together and doing it when you've got that magical time that is just dedicated to that and you're just surrounded with everyone. So this is going to be fun to learn how to do it when you are in your own home. So sign up for it. We do have limited tickets available for it. So go to the website, sign up, and gonna be a lot of fun. You're gonna have to, you'll get to experience Kim, Jen, and I when we are in person together. It's lots of shenanigans. Ta-da!
Thanks, Wit. Jemery,
don't forget that you can also do Shop Pay, where it'll let you do payments too.
Great. Thanks for reminding us about that, Kim. Yeah, so because we use Shop Pay now for like things that are more expensive, it gives you the payment plan options. And if you have any questions about that too, you can let us know. But that's like that's for really anything over. I think it gives you the option for anything over $50.
I think what's real nice about it is that you can like purchase it and then still be paying it off after the event as well too, which is quite handy when you need to do payment plans. So.
For those of you following us on Facebook or Instagram, we've been doing lives every day, but we did just take a couple of days off for some rest. Marie hasn't been feeling well, so we're just taking it day by day. So we haven't stopped doing the lives because I know a lot of you like that, checking in the morning, doing some grounding, picking our card for the day. And so, yeah. Marie, do you have a voice today? Want to say hello?
Oh my God, I'm doing this from my phone, so. And I'm doing this from my bedroom. And Rufio, Stella, and Baxter are all like, this is real life right here. So Baxter's on one right now. Not gonna lie, guys, I feel really fucking weird today. Did anyone else feel just off and weird today? Like as soon as I dipped in here and kind of felt into you guys and then started hearing you guys talking too, it's almost like words are extra difficult, and I don't know, it's just weird. I feel weird today. And me being me, I tend to lean, yeah, for self-caffeine, tend to lean into that kind of stuff, which is kind of what I did when I got sick this week. That's my body's way of like pumping the brakes with regards to like me, because I tend to be that like go overachiever, always tapped in, and like pushing the limits of everything. And so when my body is like, hey motherfucker, sit down, I sit down. And you know, we got so many messages about how helpful these lives have been, and people asking, you know, what happened? Are you guys okay? Like, please tell me you're still going to do these. So I'm going to see if I can sweet talk some of the guild members to maybe, if something like this happens again where I can't do it, maybe they will want to like step in and at least hold that space on the lives, just kind of planting that seed. I felt like it's, and still feel like it's really important for us to kind of dip our toes into the reality of our connection as magical practitioners, like consistently on a daily basis. And it has been amazing for me too. And so we're going to keep doing them. And I know this is going to be, it's a wild year. This is some intense kind of intense stuff coming through, and I'm super channely right now, and I'm really again trying to like pump the brakes. So I'm not sure how much talking I'm going to be doing today. Also, my voice is like hit and miss at this point. But thank you guys for coming. You guys are amazing. All of you that this is your first S.A.S, welcome to S.A.S. What a weird fucking S.A.S to drop into. But hey, we do it. We do it messy because it's important to be done. And we're doing something new and cool and amazing, and can't imagine a better crew, which is to be doing this with. On that note, what have you guys got going on? I want to talk about it. If you guys are feeling weird too, let's talk about it. Is anyone getting any like inside information? Do you guys get what I'm saying with that? Like we all have different ways of like connecting or getting readings, or our guides are communicating. Is there anything that you guys want to share that maybe you're like picking up on? Or anything really. Anyone want to talk? I'm going to jump down off of this. Like I'm going to just do that. And I'm even going to turn my camera because there's a really cool windstorm happening. And I bet you guys would prefer the view of an Alaskan windstorm than. So I love you guys, but here you go. If I can figure out how to mute myself. Hold on. Sorry.
I muted you. All right, we got some hands up. Still up on my hands up. Alicia.
I didn't realize I was up so fast. I guess I'll put my thing on. There we go. Hey, I just was gonna, let's see if I can put my hand down while I'm thinking about it. Sorry guys, hang on. Otherwise I'm gonna forget. No, I had the wrong button. Anyway, I did a card pull last night. So for the Pluto coming into Aquarius, I thought, oh, I'm gonna do. So I did some meditation and I did a card pull afterwards. And one of the cards that I pulled, it was from Steno Oracle deck. I do better with the Oracle decks, I'm finding. I flow better with them. So I'm still trying to learn the tarot because I want to learn it, but I flow better with the Oracle decks. So the card that I pulled, it had a reference to, I can't remember the name of the card. Regardless, it was all the magic that I need, all of the knowledge and everything I need is already inside me. So it was a confirming thing to me that I'm everything that I need. And because then I get caught up in a lot of these just kind of cycles and spins where I'm like, oh, I need to learn this and I need to learn this and I'm not good enough yet at this. I'm not good enough at that yet. I think we all tend to do that, you know. Just, you know, pick up various things, especially like that ADHD kind of stuff where, you know, I worked on this and then I put it to the side and then I come back to it and still not that good at it. And it applies to any magical doings too. It's a learning process. And sometimes I just kind of get over stressed about not feeling like I have it all and trying to figure out, you know, like where I fit, like I guess growing up, I always felt like I knew where I was going to be. I was going to be a vet when I was little. You know, I knew all the way through high school, everything. That was my goal, is I was going to be a vet and I was going to do this. And I was always pulled to the nature and the animals and that realm. And the more shadow work that I've done and the more layers that I've peeled back, and I'm like, okay, I can see why I can see the themes and I can see a lot of the things behind the whys. But now I'm kind of like standing here going, okay, now what do I do with it? You know, like now where do I go with this? Because I'm like, I feel like I just keep getting this, like, I feel like I'm holding space for a little bit for this in between. And it's really helped me connecting to this mountain that's behind me. And we had a really great conversation last night. It was really like, I was crying by the end. It was really, really good. So, but this card pull, it just made me feel like I am whole. I am complete. I have everything I need. I just need to tap into it. And in order to do that, I need to rest, be still, relax, which is something that I know I need to do. I just sometimes get caught up in the doing instead of the sitting in my peace and my own energy. So anyway, I just thought that was a fun piece to me, that was just a nice reminder that I am already a whole person and I have everything that I need. So yeah, thanks, Petra. Let's see if I can turn this off again.
From Christopher.
Jesus. Verity.
Hello. Sorry, it took me a second to get that mute thing. Well, just some weird stuff that's been happening in the last 2 weeks or more. But it's like I seem to be smelling more things, and I know that sounds weird, but like almost 20 years ago, like maybe like 16 years ago, I remember smelling a beautiful scent and hearing my sister who had passed in my head. And that was like a one-time, one-off occurrence a long time ago because my other sister really needed connection. And she was telling me. So, and nothing really has happened since then with scents or whatever. But recently I have smelled scents that don't make sense where they are. And like all blue, I'll be sitting here and I'll smell a perfume. It's not the same one for my sister. And I didn't hear anybody in my head, but it just seems like I'm smelling more things. Like, if I smell coffee, I know my father-in-law made some cafe, no, nothing like that, but it's just weird. So I've also heard that when you're in menopause, you start smelling things that aren't there. I don't know if that's a real thing or not. So I'm like, well, is it, and I forget what Claire that is. Uh, but is it that developing? Because I know I can, or is it just, my time of life? And so it's been kind of like this weird thing I've been trying to figure out because I smelled something yesterday and I just went looking. I was like, where's this coming from? Where did it stop? Where is it the thickest? Because I figured I was like, I have got to know, is this, anyway, that's just been weird for me. So yay. Ta-da.
Hello. Can I weigh in? That's okay with you.
Yes, that's always okay.
So I think it's I'll probably say it wrong, but it's like olfactants, like the olfactory systems, your smell. But is it a sink? Is it like a Claire, or like is it menopause, or is it something else? Like one of those interesting things as like a magical practitioner, I feel like, like what is it? And so the only way that I kind of navigate that is just like continuing the work with my intuition and like kind of like, because it is what you believe it to be. And so I can totally understand that question though. And like, maybe you could see if there's any like patterns, with it. Like, for example, the smell of roses comes to me and like I'll get a scent that's like my great grandmother, and it's like this very specific candle scent that was like in her bedroom. And so I kind of get like another sync with it. So it kind of like clarifies it. So you could even ask, to kind of have like another sign or sync, and then like see if there's a pattern. Like for your sister, like if you're thinking about her and then the smell shows up, or, something like that, it might help to decipher like, is it, what versus menopause versus like, is it a sign or a sync? But I'd love to hear from other people because I'm sure that this is happening to others, and I'll pass it over to Kat.
You're muted, kiddo.
Goes. Thanks. I thought I hit unmute. Anyway, so all of the above is my answer because you can't lip read. I think it's a little bit of all of the above. Like it could be your Claire's coming. It could be a little bit of where you just are in life. And I think that goes in with the menopause. Like as your body changes, your reactions to things are going to change. You're also at that point in your life where possibly you're at that point of life. Let's go that way. More people at this point of life are more, I don't care what society says anymore. I'm just going to do my own thing. And that allows you to grow into your sensory, your special giftings as well. So I think it might be a combination because I know I'm smelling a little bit more as I get a little bit older, just because I think I'm more open to it, and especially doing the shadow work and everything that we're doing here, it allows those things to open up more, as well as not caring what other people think about you and allowing yourself to breathe into that a little bit more too. See? And I don't think there's a hand up, is there?
Nope.
All right. Thank you. No, that's good. I'm just glad I'm not the only one.
Help. You do all the things, Maria. Lower my hand and
Oh, sure. Yep, I can do that.
mute me.
Yep. So we're going to hold this space. I bet someone wants to talk. Chime in. You can also change the subject. There's something on your mind and you want to ask or talk about it. Get input or not. What's on your mind? Alicia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay.
Hello.
Okay. Hey, okay. So my question is, so I started my journey probably in like 2016, going through a bit of emotion, dealing with the community, and I feel like I'm finding my footing now. But I feel like I don't know, like, how do I trust other people who are also into this? Because like I'm not trying to pass judgment or anything, but if I meet someone new and I go to their profile and they're like, I'm gonna put a hex on you, I'm like, I mean, I don't want to play anymore. You know what I mean? I want to feel, and I do my protection and all that, but I guess like, how do you build your spirit of discernment to know if you're around someone that's really for you or someone who kind of wants to just siphon off your energy?
What a great question. You want you want the weigh-ins, Alicia? Is that okay? You can give me like a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
no, for sure. Definitely won't
Okay.
wait.
Consent is important here, and that's why we always ask. So we might over ask, but we'd rather ask than not ask. So Rising Phoenix.
Hey, I trust my guides that they're not going to let anything through that isn't meant for me. And even the ones that do me harm, it was a lesson I was supposed to learn there. Whether, there was something I missed and I let them to get too close. I mean, trust me, I'm old, bitter, and jaded, honey. I got walls and all kinds of barriers to get through. So I'm not real like, sunshine, and you just got to trust. No, you be smart about it and know that, you're trusting your guides, and what's meant to be for you is going to get to you, and what isn't won't make its way to you. So, and everything comes in like a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And if they weren't meant to be, they won't be around for long. They're only there temporarily. We're all here temporary. So glad you made it. That's all I got.
Rising Phoenix. I think that I'm next. What a great question. So one of the frustrating things that I experienced when I joined Bright and Dark is I wanted Jen Marie to like tell me all these things, and she like laughed at me in the nicest way you can laugh at somebody. Because it was like sharing perspectives is one thing when and that's kind of how we try to interact. Like, so sharing, like, I'm sharing like my perspective, and you can take it or not. And like your perspective is also valid. And so I think that that's one of the key things that I look for, is that there's like a sharing of perspectives. When someone, and again, even what I'm saying, of course, like you can take this or leave it. But like for me, where my discernment comes in is if someone says, this is the way, these are the answers, and this is how you do something, that usually like keys me into, that's like a little bit of, there's a power dynamic there that I'm probably not going to engage in. So one of the things that we explore as a community is like the power overall dynamic versus a power for all dynamic. So there's a lot of dominion based things out there in spirituality and religion that offer a power overall, like where there might be like one leader and they're like, this is the way and only I have the answers. And it might not even be that obvious, but there might be like subtleties. So that's one way that I identify if I'm interested in something. And when I share my opinion or thoughts or perspective, how is that received? Is it a discussion? Is it like, oh, I don't feel that way, but thank you for sharing that? Like, that's cool. Because I love different perspectives and like I'm open to hearing them. And even if it's not something that I'm gonna like go with. So kind of like trying to identify those power dynamics, I think can be helpful. You know, there's a lot out there in witchcraft, like you have a lot of choices. It gets into like, we're not teaching any one tradition here. So there's lots of different like traditions, you know, that you can get into. And, you know, I would recommend like you, if you do decide to go into a tradition that you are initiated by someone that is their, you know, tradition and things like that. But besides that, on like TikTok and other things, there's just a million and one perspectives out there, and you're only getting like a snippet of something. And sometimes it is hard to tell what's going on. Like for hexes, that's just like such a common question, like using that as an example. So it's my belief for me that I can't be hexed. I can't. And nobody has that power over me. And so I don't do anything about that. I don't worry about it. I don't need to like do it. You know, because it's just so that one thing is just so popular. But if you do believe in that, that is absolutely valid. Like there are so many truths, and it's really your own truth that matters. And
For
so
me, oh, sorry.
yeah, no,
I
go
was gonna
ahead,
say,
go.
so for me, it's not so much like, oh, it depends on how much energy you harness in something, that how much effect it's gonna have. But if you're actively trying to get close to someone and they're doing like little sneaky stuff, that's what I was talking about, like taking things. Because
Right.
I was on a board with some other women and they had experienced some women who were taking like the jewelry and like doing magic over it. But like you said, if you believe in like the overall thing, you put up that wall where it doesn't matter what you have of yours, it's not connected to you. So that's really powerful. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, it's okay. I mean, it, you know, like people may want to like dip their toes in, explore anything. Like, I believe like vetting is important. So before I joined Bright and Dark, I scheduled a one-to-one with Jen Marie because I wanted to meet her. I just wanted to do a vibe check. Like I like doing private sessions and like I like that, but I really just wanted to see for me if we like vibes. And so we did. And that was wonderful. But anytime like I work with a new like magical practitioner, the first time like I might meet them or schedule with them, like I might schedule a meeting, but I'm really kind of like feeling it out. Like, is this somebody that like I want to work with? And yeah, like, you know, with that experience like that you mentioned, you know, is kind of like, is like a decision point, like, you know, do you want to do that like or not? But kind of the process of the foundations program, like doing the shadow work piece of this, the whole process of doing the journal prompts is to really identify and like your beliefs and repair your relationship with your intuition, and also to like deconstruct, if you're interested in that, like maybe other experiences that you've had. So to be in feeling like you're in like a waiting, I felt like for a long time I was in just like a waiting period, but I really was kind of figuring out that piece for me. And then I was able to like, now I really am able to a lot more and quickly like use discernment when I see people out there that I'm like, yes, I like that. No, I don't. Like, have fun with that. But swipe whatever, that's no. Swipe left, right? I don't know. All right. This is probably going to be a hot topic, Alicia. Are you okay with more weigh-ins?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, let me see who's next. There's a fire going next to
Can I
me and
put
my
my
eyes are
hand
wide.
down?
You can, yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah.
All right, so let us see. Wit, you are up next.
Hello. You moved on my screen, so I'm like trying to find you. There you are. Otherwise I end up looking at myself and then I feel like that's really weird. So Maria said a lot of what I would, or like reiterate a lot of what Maria said too, of, it's also my belief that like hexes don't have any power over me. I do feel that like there is sometimes if I feel like, not that I feel like I've had anybody hex me, but I felt like power surges or energy surges, and I'm like, thank you for that energy, because now I can transmute that into something that I could use for myself, or transmute it into love and send it back. And but I think like that vetting piece of it is key. And I've read a lot of books now and watched a lot of people on TikTok, and social media and stuff like that. And I really go into, when I'm meeting somebody, or like looking at somebody who I'm going to potentially use as a mentor or learn stuff from, of realizing that I can learn something from them as I'm trying to decide like how much, I don't know, weight, or how much I agree with what they're saying. And I'm a big one of, you can learn something from everyone. Even if it's somebody that you're like, oh, well, wait a second. I thought you were, you had presented yourself this way. And then all of a sudden I'm hearing about these things, or finding all this other information out about you, or all of a sudden I have a bad feeling about you. And but there's usually something, like they've come into my life for a reason, for me to learn something, be it kind of working on that intuition of like that confirmation of like, yep, follow your gut feeling with it, be it, nope, I do not want to go that way, or there's some like nugget of information there that I needed to like help me move on to my next step, or like have a realization of something. And sometimes they come into my life because the universe likes to be an asshole and poke me, and I work through my own shadows. So there's that's kind of my thought and my opinion with that. So Chantel, it is you next, it looks like.
Hi, morning. So I just wanted to say that you don't have to trust anyone. That's that's your power, and you're allowed to listen to your intuition about whatever it's telling you about that person. There's a big emphasis on keeping my energy clean and not mixing with things that aren't for me. And I just think that maybe there's a lesson there if you look for it. So you block your experience if you're like, nope, not for me. Like maybe it's a shadow, maybe it's a teaching moment for them. Maybe you can say, hey, why are you doing this? Yeah, so trust yourself, lean into your intuition. The more you do that, the more it strengthens, the more you know. You'll just know. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see. Bubbles iPhone, you are next.
That would be me. With um with random practitioners that I run into, usually when they talk about hexes, or that, usually with that kind of person, I discern ahead of time that they're more focused on a different kind of magic than what I do. It's not a connection based type of magic where I'm connecting with the elements I'm using, I'm connecting with the spirits I'm working with. It's more of a taking of commanding of, I connect with and I tell it what to do. And that just doesn't fit with who I am. So I turn away from those kind of people. But I also understand the historical perspective of the left-hand path. That historically, magic and the left-hand path is something that was like justice for the oppressed, and sometimes like a last resort for people who cannot get justice because they are the oppressed. So that is part of the reason it is part of certain traditions, and it's different for it to be respected within a tradition and people just running around and being like, oh, you said such and such, so I'm gonna hex you, or you like this person, so I'm gonna hex you. That's completely different than essentially social justice hexing. Because within the traditions that I've studied, that's what they're talking about. They're like, okay, I'm the poor person, I am not going to get justice. I'm the minority, I'm not going to get justice. And this is a grievous wrong. So I can go to the wise woman and, we can at least get some small piece of justice. So I very much respect that historical position of the magical practitioner, especially through my ancestry. And if the person's approaching it through that, that's fine. If they're hexing people like it's a power move, then they are not a person I want to be around. And I can usually see that because they are, they are doing things where they are commanding things and they're demanding things when they're doing their magic, and it's not inviting things and working with things. So those are some things I look for personally. So not necessarily, not advice, but just sharing my perspective. So
Thank you so much. Silver?
Yeah, I love this question so much, especially because it as we continue to grow magical communities, I think this is a question that a lot of people are going to come into contact with as they consider the types of magic and the types of people that they allow to influence their magical practice. Because I think a lot of it for me is I also, when I first joined like Bright and Dark, I like kind of sat back and observed for a long time to kind of see what perspectives existed here. And because when I think of it less in terms of like if that person is doing something wrong by hexing or even a power over perspective. I just consider it like, do I prefer to interact with that? Like, is that my personal preference for like what I want to use my time and energy on? And sometimes, you know, if there's like certain people that even if they have a perspective I don't entirely agree with, I think that there's like more lessons to learn from that interaction. And a lot of other times I just say, you know, I don't prefer to interact with that. I think that that's going to, there's other things I would rather spend my time and energy on. And one of the things that I started learning through here was about nonviolent communication. And I'm always the person that brings that up. And I think of it like, basically it's needs-based communication, really. And the need behind like hexing someone is to like extend that power over perspective. And I really like what Bubbles said about like that can be like when you can't get justice, like getting power over someone is like the next best thing type of thing. And so like if someone were trying to hex me, I don't like, I prefer not to be controlled. And so I would kind of consider that like okay, well, that person's need is to feel safe by controlling me. And if there's somebody I can talk to about that and kind of introduce to the idea of not controlling me and feeling safe in other ways, that's great. But if not, like if I try and it doesn't work and they're like, this is the only way I know how to feel safe, this is the only way I want to know how to feel safe, then I know that that's just not, it's like that's not my preferred reality to existence. So I don't want to share that with them so much. But it's also for me, like really fulfilling sometimes for people who are open to learning other ways of feeling safe to talk to them about that. And then we can learn that together. What I think it really shows is like, it tells us something about ourselves. Like if I don't want to be controlled and that's what's like pinging me, like, and like poking me about what that person is doing, like it tells me that like freedom is really important to me and cooperation and connection is really important to me. And so like, that's the lesson I can learn, even if that like particular relationship does not continue farther than that interaction. So yeah, I think that's great, like to talk about here, because I think we're getting a lot of new members, and I think magic is becoming more and more community based, and we are really expanding that. So I think that's the kind of question that we're going to be looking into a lot, is how do we, you know, trust people. And like a big part of joining this for me was like whether or not there's like spiritual bypassing, and like whether or not people had decolonized their practice or were in the process of that whatsoever. And so that when I kind of sat back and just listened and was like, oh, okay, they actually have, you know, perspectives on that. They're not ignoring this entire portion of reality that I consider very important to me. So yeah, I think that's it.
I love how you brought it back to like a psychological thing where it's like, okay, what do both of us need in this situation, instead of just like humanizing the other person. You know, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I always go to it with that, especially since you know, I'm like I used to say like a psychology person, but now it's more of a communication person. And it's just like rather than saying like like you said, demonizing that person, it's just like, okay, we need different things. You know, that's
Yeah, and it takes the fire out of everything.
exactly. Yeah. I think Maria or Jen Marie was next. I'm not sure. Thank you for
pass it to-
asking.
Thank you, Silver. I'll pass it to Jen Marie since she hasn't gone yet.
It's gonna take me a minute to figure out how to flip my camera on my phone. Hold on. Oh shit.
Sure. We can hear you great though.
Oh my God, I love this conversation so much. And of course I start talking as soon as the sun's actually coming up over the mountain range that you guys are looking at. So fucking tidy. First note, I'm sorry guys, this is really distracting. It literally is. I want to show you, it's literally rising right now. Like, look at that. So you guys aren't gonna look at me, you're gonna watch the sunrise as I talk about this, apparently. Funny side note, my practice would be considered left-hand path. And a lot of people are surprised by that, but it's true. It's very true. And okay, so when vetting like a group or a teacher, I suggest looking at their relationship with their life, like in general, right? Looking at their relationship with their life is going to give you a really good idea of how they're going to interact with you, right? So if they're like, in this constant battle mode and constantly on defense or whatever, they're going to interact with you that way too, in some way, whether it's like subconscious or whatever. And that has been a rule of thumb or guideposts or whatever for me for a long time, for finding mentors or finding groups that I'd want to interact with. And your path is completely your own. So no one's going to be able to tell you what is right or wrong for you. And your curiosity is fucking everything, especially when you're starting repairing your relationship with your intuition. Following your curiosity is so important. And your curiosity is going to bring you to the doorstep of a lot of like opportunities. But when push comes to shove, you are the advocate for this system. You are the one that makes these decisions. And if the answer at that doorstep is fuck off, then it's fuck off. Like, turn around and walk away. That choice, putting you in those choice points is everything. Your authentic choice is everything in your practice. And I'm going on a side quest, I feel. But as far as like, hexing and stuff like that, most of what we see on social media or in like the movies and stuff, that's not how this shit works. It isn't. Like, if you got to look at, what do you believe is magic? What is magic to you? When someone is hexing someone, what are they doing? What are they using? What's fueling that, right? And so if someone's like, I'm gonna just like, cut a lemon and stick cloves in it and pour salt in it and tidy it up with some wax, and that's gonna be enough to do a thing, like, come on, what do you believe magic is, right? Like, the deep and powerful and influential workings require this like really intense investment of attention and like energy. It's not going to happen in like the blink of an eye or like through a like physical process like that without some deep training on attention and focusing magic. And most practitioners that you see, that's you can feel the difference, right? And so also leaning into what you feel when you're interacting with someone, if you have some like gut ping that's like, oh no, I'm not fucking with this, and you decide to engage with it anyway, like that's like, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, but you certainly are like betraying your intuition and your system by choosing to do it anyway, right? So thinking about that, like, especially now, like, trust your gut. Also, if you're in a group and you're like, hey, you know, my gut's saying I gotta bounce, I gotta leave, well, how do they respond to that? Like, that's a really good like indicator too. If they don't celebrate you trusting your intuition, even if it takes you away from them, what are they getting out of that dynamic? Like, what's going on there, really? You know? So that is my 2 cents. I'm like trembling. God, look out, guys. As soon as I get like better, as soon as my physical body decides that it's time for us to embrace this new dawn, like, look at that shit, guys. Fucking fuck. Here we go. All right, love you guys. I'm gonna stop. Maria, you wanna?
Thanks. First of all, if I ever was questioning if I was neurodivergent, I took this meeting in another place in my home that I'm not usually in. And I'm like, I can't, I need to come back up here and shut the door. Like, there were just other noises, and my system was like, and then the caffeine it was just a really intense experience. And I was like, I really want to be part of this conversation. Like, so we had a fire going down there, and I wanted to like be down there. Anyhow, you didn't ask that, but I shared it. So the thing that kind of people touched on is the knowing what you don't want is very valuable information too. So like having like an experience and having like an internal feeling or reaction to be like, I'm questioning this, or this just isn't for me. That's great data. Cause like, so you're being shown like that, no, like you don't want this. Cause I think for me, that was just like kind of a little bit of an aha, like all these previous experiences that I've had. And now like to where I'm kind of in the present moment, like, what do you want to do right now? I have like all this previous data to kind of help me navigate like what I want, what I wanted and what I didn't want. And based off of like more like what I was feeling. And when Jen Marie was talking, like, I was like, I can think of, you know, all of the like relationships, partners, like friendships or like intimate relationships that, you know, like I've had and like knew that at some point that like I wanted to leave or, you know, just change the relationship. And I didn't. And it was kind of like, well, why did you stay? You know? And that was like feelings of like, I wanted to fix it. I wanted to help. You know, I could change things and this and that. And I almost feel that way, like within, you know, when you're getting into like spirituality or things like that, something that's like that connection with something or someone. And like kind of going through like the 2 years of shadow work, it was like a moment of examination and of like all of those things. And so if you haven't, you know, if that sounds like something you're into, is just really kind of just being in that like examination like period. Because what you can do, and Jen Marie's talked a little bit on some of her TikToks like about like identifying like footholds too, like where is that foothold, like what might I need to work through, and also covering like so much information here today too, but I also realized like part of my navigation system is intellectualizing like everything. I intellectualize the fuck out of anything, but it was like the connection with my body that I'm still really working on that was really helpful, because I was actually like processing emotions and moving through them, working with them, rather than being in resistance. So it's like when something comes up and I get like an internal alarm bell, like having kind of that connection, more connected with my body, was helpful. And there was something else that I wanted to say, but I don't remember, but it will come back to me. Thank you, Alicia, for your question.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody for y'all's answers. They're really so insightful. I've been taking notes this whole time.
I love notes. Date the notes, because it's so awesome to come back to your notes. Like even like this time next year, if you choose to, like, if this is like a journal or something, to read it, it's so awesome to do that. You could be like, oh, like same theme coming up again this time, or like, oh, like I worked through, like I worked through so much, and like this is, but it's so cool to look back. So date everything. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. So in terms of like the example you brought up, Alicia, I think you said it was like something about jewelry. Were they asking to like turn over items or donate items, or was it some sort of situation like that?
So the situation was, this was way back. So I met this girl, we were neighbors, and I was having car trouble. She came over. She got a little too friendly. I'm straight. I don't care what you are. But when I let her know that, she kind of got offended that I let her know that I was straight. And she started taking little things out of my house. And it's like my intuition kind of guided me to let me know that that's what was going on. And when I confronted her, she goes, well, I know the Bible too, and I can probably say it better than you and God. And I was like, oh, well, good for you. She goes, yeah, I actually fuck with the devil. And I was like, oh, good for you. And so I talked to her mom about it because I was getting concerned. I would see her on my camera sneaking around my house. And that's how I found out she had my stuff. Weird initiation, but that's how it went.
Interesting. Lucifer is always getting a bad rap. Everybody's blaming Lucifer for everything.
I mean, I blame her. I don't blame the devil. She
No, just
her
kidding.
own
Yeah.
free will.
Yes. And of course I say that, kind of joking, but kind of not, where like, when you like exploring like different deities or who people work with and who, don't, it's just like your perception of that, right? Like, the devil or just an entity, and like that's the vibe, like, whatever. But that's like a whole nother awesome topic. The thing that I wanted to say about that is the connection with things, or other people, or the elements, and kind of identifying discernment. And again, like Bubbles brought up like connection-based magic, and that's also my vibe, like connection-based magic with a lot of sprinkled in chaos magic, is that I'm not looking to have power or dominion over anything, any person, thing, element, anything. And I'm not looking for anyone to have dominion or power over me. So I'm looking to like connect and work with, in partnership. I like to say like dance with, and that's how kind of I navigate. But if I'm getting the ping of like, I'm trying to, then, I just kind of need to like look into that a little bit more, like what went on. And then I have like a really strong reaction, because there's just like a joke amongst people that have known me for a little while, like I don't like being told what to do. And like, it's funny, but like, I really don't. Who does? But that just kind of, and some people in the past, I could have looked at that as like, know, disobedience or whatever, but like, no, it's just, that's who I am. And it's just something that like I've, you know, integrated into like my system as just kind of like an alarm bell too, of when I feel like that might be happening. But it's not that, yeah, anyways, that was like a whole shadow work deconstruction thing. Good times. Did I see a hand go up? Or a question? Okay, thanks, Petra. I will send her the link. Anyone else have thoughts or questions? And you can also just change the subject. We're good like about shifting around for different conversations. Jean Marie?
Did you lower my hand?
I don't know. I might have by
Okay,
accident.
I can try in a minute, but okay.
Oh, lower it? You want me to lower it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I think you said, did you lower my hand? I'm like, oh no, did I lower your hand? Sorry.
No. I'm trying to let you guys see an Arctic sunrise, man, and it's blinding me. So I'm like hiding and huddled behind my phone, if that makes any sense, like blocking it so I can't really see what I'm doing. But anyway, do with that what you will. What are you guys doing? Okay, maybe that's not the right word. Okay, so. And does anyone have any thoughts on what's going on, like astrologically, like right now? Pluto entering Aquarius kind of stuff. Has anyone got feelings? Like, has anyone got plans for it? Is anyone like, what the fuck are you talking about, Jen? Like, that's totally okay. So, I would like jump down a Google hole, guys. Like, look it up. Follow that. It's a lot of fun. It's very tidy with everything that like we've been doing for quite a while. But if I were to like suggest or like sprinkle, like plant a seed at all for like what you could possibly do today, like allow yourself to actually imagine what your perfect reality feels like, right? If that makes any sense at all, just let yourself daydream a little bit and see if any like warm fuzzies come up and hold on to those. Or do something today that is the like a physical representation of what you want that reality to look like, right? So that could be even showing up to Witch Work Circle tonight. I'm part of my ideal reality is that I am a powerful witch and I am on my path and I'm doing this thing. That is a part of my reality, right? But like see if you could take it to the next level in some way, if that makes any sense at all. And so it could also be something like, I know that I've been on this path in repairing my relationship with my physical body and my physical experience, right? And understanding that more. And I know that the thing that my system needs to work on is kind of deepening that relationship, taking that relationship with my body to the next level. So if I spend today in like embodying that choice, right? Because I'm healing, I'm sick. So I'm like, every time I drink a glass of water, I'm like, there you go, man. Thanks for looking out for me. Like I fully am talking to myself. It's really great. My kids are very amused. But by doing that, I am embodying a reality that I have this deep, close relationship with my physical body and my physical experience. And that is a part of the reality that I know is aligned. Does that make sense at all? Okay, well, go ahead, Silver.
One of the things that this is on that topic, because I don't know like a ton about astrology, but every once in a while I will go down like a rabbit hole, and I enjoy, having those like little moments of curiosity being sated. But this time, like I have like for the last, I don't know, like few months maybe, and just like it's like kind of been upping the ante like bit by bit, just trying to incorporate a magical thought process into everything that I do. And so, like going through a portal, like that's spoiler alert, that's like part of what's happening astrologically, is like that kind of thing, like something that's never happened before is happening, like in our lifetime anyway. And I was trying to think about that because I think a lot about um late stage capitalism, and a lot of my magic is revolutionary in nature. Like I'm trying to, help things along and make my perfect world happen, for me. And so I happened to be traveling to go visit family. And so the whole time we were doing that, I was like imagining that like on the plane, that this movement itself was part of moving through a portal and moving to the next place that I want to be. And like when we, got on like the shuttle, I was imagining like the rotation of the tires literally being like part of the revolution, and like just really consciously trying to think about, like, even if it's just my breath, the in and out of the way the world works on many levels, and just trying to think of myself very much as part of that system. And I even had this like image of like when I set foot on the ground again, I was going to be in the new place, like in like a, where no man has gone before, was like in my head, because this is an astrological event that has never happened before in my lifetime. And like I even passed, while we were driving here, the Virgin River. And that's like the whole point of the word virgin, at least in our vernacular. Apparently it meant something else back in the day. But this idea of things are new, and they are like the only limit is our imagination. And that is, can be limited because our entire brain is set up in a way by society to be limited by it. But like whenever I talk to people about how things could be, almost every time, like people that aren't witches, they think about things in terms of how they've been before. Like that's where things are limited for them, is that they're just like, well, we couldn't be in a world without war because that's never happened. We couldn't be in a place without oppression because that's never happened. Like it's always been that way. And they'll say things like, that'll never happen. And I'm trying to break down that barrier of like what is possible based on the limitations of my brain as it is, because my brain wants to say like, only based on this previous evidence do I know what could be possible. And I'm trying my best to just completely to have a feeling signature of this like this beautiful world that to me is exactly what I want, and then really try to just hold that feeling signature as much as possible. Um, and I'm a little bit of like a chaos magic person because I often don't have things with me, and especially when I'm traveling, like I brought a few candles, but like I don't have a whole lot of, the instruments and paraphernalia of witchcraft right now. And so that consciousness and just being as present as possible, and remembering that I don't really need those things to do magic. They're just reminders, of the thing I already have. Like a lot of times when you guys light, like if I'm not at home or something, when you guys like light candles, I just try to imagine it in my mind, like I'm lighting a candle, and so those things are all how I'm trying to integrate that. Like anytime I'm in a class, I want to, learning, like I was like, oh, I'm writing my name. I'm basically in my brain, I'm like, I'm signing like a contract for what I want to learn for this, type of situation. And it's just little things like that. And the more I do it, the easier that becomes to be present in that moment and remind myself that everything is magic. So. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we got Alicia.
Am I up next?
Yes, I think so.
Hello.
I'm only 4 hours away from you.
I know. Are you in St. George or are you farther north?
Yeah. I'm in St. George. Yeah.
It's closer to 6 hours. It's a drive. And I sit in this little funny pocket. I still wanted to come down. I'm like, oh man, if there hadn't been a snowstorm, I may have just come down because we have relatives down that area anyways. But it's exciting to have someone that close to me. I'm like,
yeah,
yay!
I'm keeping you in my thoughts. I'm like, I'm so close to one of the people that I love. So.
Too, but yeah, I'm waving to you from 5 hours north. Yeah, it's just scary to go through those canyons and spots when it's snowing. You don't want it. I don't like doing it. You don't want to do it.
Yeah, I can't imagine going through the gorge. Oh yeah, there's a gorge on the way to St. George, and that's terrifying and beautiful. And that's another thing that as we were going through it, I was imagining it was like, like a tunnel of.
There's bighorn sheep that live in that gorge, and you can see a lot of them. So if you kind of go take little roads, you can. I know there's a spot out there that people go see them all the time. Might want to ask around, but you can go see the bighorn sheep that are out there, and the Joshua trees and all that. I love that gorge. That's where I have a lot of my rocks and things from. It's part of the Mojave Desert. FYI, I just learned that. So you've been to the Mojave Desert.
That's awesome. Thank you. We'll have to go visit.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say the whole Pluto thing. I feel as an air sign myself, because I'm Gemini both in my sun and my moon. I didn't really realize, so I kind of went through it and was looking at a few different things too. But I think that's part of, like, I felt this awakening of confidence. I felt this, like I think what I was trying to say when I first started talking was I just feel like, yeah, it's okay for me to be where I'm at. Like I'm good where I'm at. Like I can keep learning, I can keep growing. But with me, like I feel like more solid now than I have in the past. Like I've kind of felt like I feel good. Like I've been like, okay, this is good. I'm in a good trajectory. I'm doing good. I'm doing things. But especially after like my meditation and things last night and whatnot, I just feel like it's okay for me to be me. It's okay for me to sit where I'm at and take as much time as I need to be there. But where I'm at is good. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel more solid instead of just kind of willowy. I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. But I do feel like that was a shift and a change. And I feel like I feel like I'm phasing into, that's probably a better way to put it. I feel like I'm phasing into a more solid format, more of a format. Well, I feel like I have a more solid format. Anyway, just my 2 bits. And I think Kat was next, is what Maria said.
I think the perfect word you're looking for is you've created your foundation. So I was thinking that when Jen Marie was talking, that it's perfect that today's my day off. Because I think that that's pretty much where I belong is not, I don't really think having a full-time job is where I belong. But right now that's what I'm doing. I'm really a stay-at-home kind of person. I spent many years as a stay-at-home mom. I spent many years as part-time worker, part-time mom, and that's where my flow generally is. But right now I feel like I'm in the nesting mode part of my life. Like I've spent so many years at home and being only part-time that I have almost no retirement savings whatsoever. So I was like, let's go do the full-time thing, build up that retirement money and add to my social security and all those things that I need to do so that, I mean, I'm going to be 60 this year. I don't have a lot of years to build that up. I don't want to work for the rest of my life, but I think that's where I'm at right now is that nesting mode. So what I want for myself is to go back to being that more stay-at-home kind of person, which oddly enough with this job is going to kind of be a half and half. So maybe I'll have like the best of both worlds. Some weeks I'll have 3 days off, some weeks I'll have 4 days off. So maybe it'll feel like I have it all, and that would be kind of interesting. And I've never really looked at it that way before, but that's generally, I guess, what I should lean into today is having it all, having working full time and having 4 days off in a row would be kind of like all of it. But I do agree with Silver that you don't really have to have all those things with you. And when I participate on the 10 o'clock morning stuff, I'm sitting at my desk at work and I don't have any tarot and I don't have any candles and I don't have all of those things, but I let Jen Marie do it all for me. Because she does it so well. And those cards that she pulls every day are so relevant to where I'm at that it feels like I'm pulling a card for myself anyway. So I love that. I love the constant reminders for writing things down and becoming part of that practice. All of those reminders that you give us every single day are really sinking in, especially for my neurodivergent brain, having that constant reinforcement of those basic things that should be a part of my practice is mwah. So I just love it. So thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. I could help you. I know when you're on the phone with the Zoom app, it's like a little bit tricky. I always like touch it and then I touch the wrong thing. And then we're on Teams and Zoom and they're a little bit different. So it's like getting used to it again. Does anyone else have anything that they want to talk about? We have about 30 minutes left. So you can totally change the topic. That's totally cool. Bubbles.
So on the subject, and then I'll be off the subject, which will kind of be on the subject anyway. Being January, like, some people with seasonal affective disorder are starting to feel the strain a little bit more. So, myself and a few friends are aware of that, and that's one thing we have been doing is encouraging each other to like lean into our dreams and be like, okay, what would be your perfect what would be your perfect world? How would things look if they were different? And, taking it a step further and being like, okay, what are we gonna, Okay, let's put energy into this. Let's manifest this. Okay. If we're going to manifest this, what can we do collectively to like put energy towards this? Because it's not just putting the intention, it's putting in, you know, the blisters and the hard work too. Because when the opportunities come up, you gotta like put your hands in and do the work too. So I have been thinking about that off and on all month. And so I was really excited for that to come up and hear what other people are thinking. And when we were talking about witchy community last week, I was really excited because that's definitely something that fits within, you know, my perfect world for sure. Because for me, like living in community it's definitely like it definitely is where my system works better. I say collective instead of system. My collective works better. You know, and you know, historically humans are not, you know, these little independent units trying to do everything on their own. So you know, genetically it makes sense for us to be in community together, working together, meeting each other's needs together. So it's something I'm very passionate about. I get really excited about. Tiny subject change. I like kind of mentioned it last time a little bit that I'm like, well, maybe I just need to do it myself. Um, Not only did I mention that, you know, if I have an idea, if I have this concept of like a summer gathering of witches, that I should like do it myself, like my brain went, that was me giving my brain permission to think about it and dream about it. And it's perfectly aligned with like astrologically what's happening. And my brain just like took off with it. And I'm privileged to have like close friends that are like willing to dream with me. And so that process in my mind has started. And, you know, at first I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. I got to make it happen like right away. This has got to just like now. And then, you know, the more the pressure built, I was like, no, this is not practical. You know, summer solstice is in June, and logistically trying to get this all done and make everything happen. I'm just like, no, that's not practical. And I haven't talked to anybody. This is just me kind of freewheeling on my own. And so, yeah, I just basically, I'm like, yes, I'm dreaming about the idea. I'm putting things together. on the off chance that anybody has been to a rainbow gathering, gonna do my best to be at the upper Midwest rainbow gathering. But national is going to be in California. So I'll try and manifest being able to get out to California, but I'm not like committing. So I mentioned rainbow gathering because those are those have some of the structure that I would emulate. It's community based. They basically go into the woods and they make a village and they all live together and feed each other and focus on praying for peace and then clean up after themselves and do it all again somewhere else. I'm envisioning getting together, empowering witches, and then having the witches go and be empowered and being their witchy selves. So that's enough rambling. Whoever's next can go now.
Thank you. Jemmarie is next.
I love that so much, Bubbles. And in fact, I would love to hear. Well, first of all, super familiar with Rainbow and very supportive of all of that stuff. It actually made me kind of remember. Sorry, went on a side quest. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, backtracking a little bit. Thank you for going on this journey with me. What if we spent a little bit of time just talking about what does your perfect world look like? We did this in the guild, actually. That was a lot of fun. But I don't think that we share this with each other enough. Because it's surprising how similar our visions are. It's almost like we have this shared dream in a really cool way. So I would love to hear what y'all are picking up on. Like, what is your perfect world? My active retirement plan now is to live in a converted nunnery, an old nunnery, filled with neurodivergent witches. Like that is my my end goal. Is that an end goal? I don't know. Retirement plan. But yes. Does anyone else want to share what their dream world is?
Thanks, Jemmarie. Renee, you're next. Feel free to, I know you raised your hand, so weigh in on that and whatever else you want to say, go for it.
Okay. I'm sick, so I'm a little discombobulated, but I just wanted to say, like, when everyone's talking about the community, or as I'm going to call it, the witchery, I'm like hardcore in my hag phase right now, and I'm loving it so much. But in the future, when I'm in my crone phase, I don't have. Sorry, I'm. Yep, this isn't going to last long. I don't have kids, I don't have that kind of safety net of, people thinking your kids are going to like take care of you when you're old or whatever. But I think, and I love kids. I love the idea of being somewhere where I could be like someone's grandma, just with my adopted children. And I'm from somewhere where like elders are really appreciated and respected. And I think, like when I'm thinking about kind of a perfect community, all those things would be included. And sorry, like I said, I'm sick, but I just here's my astrology 2 cents too. Like Jupiter, where I'm at, is so bright in the sky right now. Like it is so big and so bright. And I love it. And then I turn on the TV and I hear people talking about building, like colonizing the moon. And it makes me so upset that I'll probably have to join like an anarchist collective or something if that starts happening. But um I just don't want to see anything on the moon in my lifetime. And that's my incoherent thought, but I'm gonna unraise my hand now.
Thank you, Renee. Same for me too with the kids stuff that you mentioned. I feel exactly the same way. So I had shared like a little while ago too, like about because Bright and Dark first happened and the pandemic was happening, I was like being a witch about it, but I wasn't like hanging out with my friends, with my friend group that I have, and just started to like interact with them. So anyhow, it was just interesting that this conversation is coming up because yesterday we have a text chain, and they were just talking about just like struggles they were having, and like, wishing they had help and this and that. And, from everything we've talked about, I just kind of chimed in with like, we're not supposed to do this alone. Like we're supposed to be in a community. And, we like said it jokingly for years, like we should just buy a compound and live together and help each other. Like you wouldn't ever have to worry about childcare. You wouldn't have to worry about food. You wouldn't have to worry about money because there'd be like a collective and supported environment. And that's like what I want. I don't want people to want for anything. And like the fact that people, it like hurts my heart to think about someone being hungry, and um and then like children needing, like I want a community where it's just support, like so you could support each other with all those things, and also do what you want. Like if cooking is what you love, then that's what you would do. If teaching is what you love, then that's what you would do. Like that would be how we'd like collectively contribute based on what actually you do. And of course, like I don't know, maybe no one wants to clean the toilets, or maybe someone loves to, I don't know, but you'd share that, like you'd share that responsibility. With that kind of said, what I do know that I don't want is to live in a community where people aren't interested in doing shadow work, because I need in my life to have that interaction with people where we can like talk about those things. And like nonviolent communication for me would be a prerequisite if I was living in a community, so we could have kind of that common language. um, that would be very important to me. So that would be my ideal, um, to be in a beautiful landscape with people that I love, like agree with Renee, like love children, love taking care of elders, where we, of course, and like feel your feelings. Like I want people to be supported in feeling their feelings, support their authenticity, but also just like having, some sort of shadow work or something that you're actively working on so that we can all get along, I guess, right? Ultimately. So let me see who's next. And Silver, you are next.
I love this conversation. I've kind of made it like a nightly ritual now to try to like visualize the perfect world. And like I'm pretty much an overall like abolitionist. Like I don't want there to be I don't want there to be prisons. I don't want there to be war. Like I want everyone to have a home and food that doesn't poison them and water that doesn't poison them. And I think like, and to me, like I believe that probably 99.9, like honestly, I believe 100% of people don't actually want to do violence. I think that there is something else that's happening there. And if I'm a little bit wrong, then by like getting the people out of prison and that only that, you know, obviously that sold drugs, that like only did violence because of, you know, their socioeconomic circumstances, which is violence done to them by the state. Like then the people that really do want to do violence, if those people exist, those will be the people that, you know, are there, that we can actually start working on and figuring out why that's the case. Because I don't really think it's my personal belief that like people don't live in like a natural state of wanting to do harm, and that's usually meeting some need of theirs that that we can then have the resources to figure out. And I'm like, I feel like I would really like to live in a community. Like I kind of imagine that there will be some people that want to live in like little houses, or community, and then some people that want to live in community houses or like kind of apartment situations, and community gardens. And, you know, like I think just like at every stage, almost everything that we criminalize is an opportunity for us to figure out how we meet the needs of the people that are doing that thing, you know, like from drugs to suicide to crime and violence. And I feel like if we were not all under constant threat of homelessness, essentially, that we would have a lot more time to think creatively about solutions to those issues. And so a big part of it, like, is just the standard, you know, everybody gets a home, everybody gets food, everybody gets water. And I actually think that like access to information is also a human right. So everybody gets Wi-Fi. But like, I mean, we already have, like, that wouldn't really cost very much. So like, that's not a thing. It's mostly just people that think that they own everything and therefore they get to keep it away from other people and withhold. A big part too, of my perfect world would be like conflict resolution, like and helping be part of the peaceful resolutions and needs-based communication. I'm like I'm starting to like I've realized that the people that we think of as like highly critical people, that's a skill that that has kind of like turned in on itself a little bit because of like trauma and thought loops and, you know, dominion based programming of our brains. But really there are, I think, people that are really good at spotting where the problem is, like where, and I think that that problem is pretty much like the disconnect. Like, where is the disconnect that's not happening that we can start healing to create a connection where there wasn't one? And I think that's going to be really useful as soon as, you know, people aren't treating everyone else as competition for resources for their basic needs to get met. Because I think that's like pretty much the source of all what we would consider bad behavior, things that are stopping us from all having a perfect world. And so I really like thinking about how to organize conversations and find the little nugget of creative thinking that will allow everyone to have what they want and have what they need, and working on it with people on an individual level, and then a community-based level, and depending on what their need is. And I think that's where my thought process stopped. But I often am thinking most of my stuff kind of goes back to abolition, and also you guys also mentioned was magic, that being very commonplace. When a couple months back when we had that question of what would you do if nothing was holding you back? And I was like, oh, it would be magic. I would just be neighborhood, magic person. And I would go do magic with the other people that, that do it. And that would just be a very usual, normal profession. And I wouldn't have to worry about how I was going to make money. I would just, because I would have my basic needs met. And obviously healthcare goes into it with that. And all the things that people are fighting for every day, pretty much already. They would just be givens. They would be human rights. And I think that would ease most of the other tensions that happen. So let's see, I think Renee is next, but Maria can tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay, first of all, Witch's community garden will be the best garden of all time. And I have a hippie heart. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, if I ever had an apartment, there'd be 6 other people living with me. I kind of have always loved, communal living. So much so that even into my late adulthood, I've been I love watching documentaries about communes, and but they always fail, and the reason that I've been able to determine that they fail is either somebody gets greedy and they want 10 Rolls Royces, or someone just wants complete control, or someone wants to mess around with underage kids. Those are the 3 things that seem to bring them all down. So I think I am one of those people that kind of is looking to solve the problem before it's even happened, identify where things can go wrong. And so I don't know that much about it, except having read a book about it, and just having kind of a minor obsession with Lilydale. But if people don't know what Lilydale is, it's a spiritualist community in New York. And it's a town full of psychics, and they pull it off because, well, I shouldn't say pull it off, but the way that they kind of have it set up is it's a religion. Spiritualism is a religion. I'd say I have the spiritualist bent, just because they believe you can communicate with the dead all the time. And but it's a whole town with houses and everything else that they've built up, and I don't think it's completely a commune per se, but they definitely have an infrastructure I think would be worth investigating to see how to make it go successfully. Because I don't know if everybody else watches documentaries, but I just watched a documentary recently about the Rajneeshis when they were in Oregon. It's everything starts out really cool and really good, and then well, one thing they did was they let anyone in, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but again, when people here are talking about there being some criteria nonviolent communication, that was part of their problem. Some of the people that they let in were violent people, you know. So sorry, I'm kind of babbling again because of my cooties, but yeah, I what I'm saying is I'm willing to spend some time, like, also this is gonna sound so nerdy, but I kind of love like dry academia and like writing proposals and like doing research. Like I will totally do some of that research into what the kind of like aspects of pulling something like that together that isn't the fun part, you know what I mean? That's more like the technical part. If anybody ever wants to like partner up with me, um even if it's just like a cool thought exercise, like I'm in for it. So I know we're getting late, so I'm gonna just make sure nobody else has something they want to say and mute myself here.
Thank you, Renee. And I always appreciate your reviews that you post on everything too. They're very informative.
Thank you.
So we're down to the end of this S.A.S.S Mass. I did want to mention that we have Witchwork Circle this evening for those members, the Foundations program, and that the link is in the members area. And if you need help with the link, if you want to like email me, maybe just like 10-15 minutes before, I can help you, because once the meeting starts, I'll be in the meeting, so I might not like see. So just if you wanna like just do a little test to make sure everyone can get in the members area. It's gonna be under meeting links and afterplay, and there should be S.A.S.S Mass, Sacred Space, and Witchwork Circle links in there for you, and it will be on Zoom. And the workbook is posted there too if you want to do a supply check. And of course, we'll do a supply check during the meeting too. The quickest way to reach us with any questions is to just send a chat to the page. You go on our website, it has like the chat function, or to email support at brightanddark.org. So I think we can wrap it up for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It was another great S.A.S. Jean-Marie, or with that lighting, that natural lighting.
Yeah. See what I'm talking about? This is what I meant by I'm like using my phone. It's funny that you can actually see my phone
Yeah,
outline like on my face. I'm not lying. I'm serious, guys. You're amazing. Thank you for coming out today, guys. And we'll see you in the morning. I'll be doing the live in the morning, and I'll see you guys at the Witchwork Circle tonight too. So love you guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.